Hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog podcast. This is your host, Elias Roush. This podcast is sponsored by EliasRoushMedia.com, photo, video, digital media production. Today we are discussing Mulan, the 2020 film. Mulan is a 2020 American action drama film produced by Walt Disney. It is the live-action adaptation of Disney's 1998 animated film of the same name. Based on the Chinese folklore, the Ballad of Mulan. The film stars Yafei Liu, sorry if I get these pronounced wrong, probably will, in the title role, alongside Donnie Yen and Tiz Ma, Jason Scott Lee, Yosen Ang, Ron Yan Gong Li, and Jet Li in supporting roles. It is directed by Nikki Caro, with screenplay by Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver, Lauren Hynek, and Elizabeth Martin. We best know the director Nikki Caro from her early career and basically very small, very small Critics' Choice Film Awards. What was it? Whale Rider back in... I saw that, Jesus, how long ago was that? Whale Rider was probably easily 10 years ago. I can't find the... 2002, oh my Jesus, 18 years ago? I remember watching that on DVD for the first time. Yeah, so anyways, not very large, filmographies. What does she have? Memory and Desire, 1998, Whale Rider, North Country, A Heavenly Vintage, McFarlane USA, The Zookeeper's Wife, and yeah, this is her next film after The Zookeeper's Wife, Mulan. She's also done a little bit of television as well, Mercy Peak and Annie with an E. But yeah, so she's not a very big, quote unquote, big filmmaker. And so, kind of going back and just looking at what she's done, the only thing she's directed, written, and produced was Heavenly Vintage. I have not seen or heard anything about it. Don't really know too much about it. Looks like it might have got a Sundance, some sort of award. I don't know, something award. Toronto TIFF award in 2009. But other than that, she is relatively small in the scheme of things. And so this is one of the biggest production budgets with a female director, $200 million. Plans for a live action remake began in 2010, but the project stalled in development hell. Oh God, development hell. We don't want to be in there. So back in March 2015, a new attempt was announced with Caro and hired to direct in February 2017. Liu was cast in the title role in November 2017 following a cast call of 1,000 actresses, and with the rest of the cast joining over the following year. Filming began in August 2018 and lasted through November, taking place in New Zealand and China. And I wanted to say this because I think the absolute look and the budget of this is through the fucking roof. And for them to put it just on Disney Plus, give or take the story. I'm not going to say that the story is worth putting on the big screen, but I thought the look of this fucking was dripping with gold. I thought it just looked phenomenal. So let me just say that. And when I talk about this, I don't want it to affect anyone's opinions of, or think that my opinions affect, are being affected by the political views of the people that are in this movie. So I just want to say that straight up right now. They are apples and oranges. And so anyways, with a budget of $200 million, they decided it's the most expensive film ever directed by a woman. And yes, so there is a lot of controversial stuff behind the scenes with regards to some of the main actors and actresses. So we'll put that to the side. we will say that before COVID, it was supposed to be originally held, the premiere was supposed to be originally on March 9th, 2020, but because of fucking COVID, because of stupid, we had to push everything to VOD or wait till the next year otherwise. What is going on with this bird? I'm about to go freaking Robert Pattinson on it. Sorry about that. Some birds just don't have any dignity for people recording a podcast. Jeez, the respect. God. Oh my goodness. Anyways, Mulan was delayed kind of relatively indefinitely till about September. So September, they had decided, all right, everyone that has Disney Plus, you can rent it, you can rent it, you can rent it, wait, you can rent it. We got subscriptions already, and they're telling us we can rent it. What the hell? So it's considered a premium VOD purchase now. So let's just talk about that real quick. A premium VOD purchase apparently means it's a brand new movie just like this. It has one of these hundreds of millions of dollars in the budget, so they need to make up the money somehow. But most people are not going to want to watch a movie, or if I guess it really depends on how much a movie ticket would cost and how much you really want to watch the movie. So this review is going to kind of slant towards, I guess, how much you're putting into the movie financially and time-wise. I guess it's the same amount of time if you're renting it or VODing it. But basically, if you're listening to this review in between September and I think it's sometime in December, there's this $30 that you have to think about purchasing. And my thing is, for the budget that you get, it's going to probably, it's aiming for an older demographic than the 1998 animated film. So if you're putting this on thinking that you're going to entertain a family under 8, I'd say under 10 years old, I think you have another thing coming. This is kind of a slow burn of a remake of Mulan, and I think it's done with grace, although it does feel like it's kind of a Western panning in a way, just because everything's kind of in English and whatnot. But or a Westernization of the Mulan telling, it feels like, in a way. But a lot of it is very much the same as the 1998 film, but you don't have your Mushus, you don't have your racist stereotype dragons or something like that. You don't have a lot of the you don't have the music, obviously. It's not like the other I think I read an article that said there's like 17 live action Disney remakes, I think. Like over half of them have a Rotten Tomato score, and like a Rotten Tomato score. And I think Mulan is one of the few ones that actually is done okay. I think it was in like the 80s or something, maybe 70s last time I checked. But I kind of agree in that vein. I don't think it's, I'm seeing it now. 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb is getting wrecked. This is 5.4. But I think that critics would probably agree that Mulan probably is a winner in their book. My only thing is, let me pull out the notes. When I start rambling and I don't know what's going on, I just need to pull out the notes because stick to the script. The script's good. Mulan. Okay, so here are the pros and cons for Mulan. Just as always, we're going to talk about the pros, the cons, and then we're going to a spoiler section for the movie. But for the numbers' sake, the film has grossed 46.8 million worldwide, give or take. I'm not sure if that includes VOD or not. I assume that does not include VOD. See, like, if it was geared for a slightly younger crowd, like, I think it might be a little bit, it would capture the attention and the audiences of slightly younger people, and you would be more encouraged to have more, over, maybe 5 kids over have a sleepover for the kids and they're watching Mulan and you can go do whatever. But this feels like it's for older kids, and if or more of a teenage, or what is it, preteens or something like that. It's just like I don't think they're going to all sit there and watch Mulan. It's kind of a sticky point. It's like they're aiming for a subsection of teenagers that don't really care to sit down and watch a 2 hour slow burn performance. So it's a sticky situation. It's almost too long in a way. But anyways, let's talk about the pros. Beautiful cinematography. I thought the cinematography on this was absolutely gorgeous. Mandy Walker is the cinematography DP on here. And I saw that she has additional credits on what the fuck are her credits? Okay, so are these films? Okay, featured films. The Mountains Between Us was kind of recent. Hidden Figures, Jane Got a Gun, Truth, Tracks, Red Riding Hood, Beastly, Australia. That was at the Baz Luhrmann. And yeah, Shattered Glass. That Shattered Glass was with the guy that played Darth Vader, or Hayden Christensen, or eventually Darth Vader. So I mean, the cinematography on this specific movie is the type of cinematography that makes me want to go back, study the frames. I mean, just the lighting alone is amazing. So the cinematography makes me want to go back and study the frames, but also makes me want to go back and check out the other things that she's also produced. And so the action, I was impressed by the action. I heard some people were not as impressed by the action. The attire, I thought they spent an especially a lot of there was a detailed amount of time of on the attire. The drama is on the main cast, and the supporting cast is essentially having the fun. And I don't know if there's a good balance. It reminds me of Aladdin with the new world building and that sort of stunt work as well. The cons of this movie, I think, it's I don't mind a slow burn beginning, but this is a really slow burn beginning to the point where it could have been edited more. It's the editor's David Coulson. It's a tad dry. Like I said, we don't have the Mushu stereotype. Like I'll talk about the Mushu stereotype in the 1998 remake, or not the remake, but the 1998 original film with Eddie Murphy as the voice. I will say, yeah, there were some problematic parts, but to be honest, I didn't think there was anything as problematic for the Mushu character as there was with the Robin Williams character as the genie. So, I, there's always bound to be something a little bit. It's not scandalous. Is racially scandalous? Is that a is that a term? I don't know what the right term's called, but it's a little bit walking the line. But I would have to ask I would have to ask some people just if they're offended by Mushu, because personally when I was watching it, I got some vibes of him doing some slightly racial stereotypes, but I didn't think they were like offensive. I didn't feel like they were actively offensive. And so I don't know. So anyways, slow burn beginning, tad dry writing, and the editing. It's just those couple things really damper this movie in a way. So let me kind of compare it to other like live action movies like that are kind of geared for maybe not 10-year-olds but 11, 12 preteens and stuff like that. Like National Treasure. I really loved National Treasure as a young boy, or however old when it came out. I felt like this movie was trying to be kind of that subsection of like Pirates of the Caribbean Disney. It was trying to be the National Treasure Disney, but we did not have charismatic actors on screen the entire time, as we did with Nicolas Cage and what do we have in National Treasure, and then we have Pirates of the Caribbean. We had a full cast of people that were just fun to watch the entire time. I didn't really feel like the actress Mulan was like having an actively fun time being this character. She does feel very gracious with the way that she carries herself, but I was just like, okay. She doesn't seem to. I felt like the young Mulan enjoyed being Mulan more than the older Mulan. I don't know. There was just a lot of wishy-washiness with it. So, with saying all that, let's hop into the spoiler section of Mulan. So before we jump into the spoiler section, I will say, if you're not dying to see this, just wait for it to come on your Disney Plus and just save the $30. Unless you think it's of some sort of representation, and you're helping the cause kind of thing, then yeah, I would honestly just wait. So let's jump into the spoiler section. Also, the music is by Harry Gregson Williams. I wasn't too familiar with who that is, but I kind of enjoyed what it was. He's from Spy Game, Phone Booth, Man on Fire, Chronicles of Narnia, the first one, Deja Vu, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, Martian, and of course the Shrek franchise. He's got some musical talent under. He's got some credentials under his belt. So yes, let's talk about this in the spoiler section. So that first scene, oh my goodness. What is with the scene of her falling off the building? I know it's supposed to show that she has this chi, so apparently this chi is something that is not part of the original Mulan. And when I watched it, it showed how Mulan in the first 1998 movie is having to work at getting better and stronger and crafting her skill versus, what is it? This one, she's just automatically a baller and a beast from like age 6 or something like that, doing flips off the top of like a 5-story building and landing it all, and somehow still pissing the neighbors off. I don't know what's going on, but there is this like inner chi / midichlorians thing, like the Star Wars thing. You can't let anyone know you've got this chi, but you got to let it out. But there was this kind of thing like, this like trying to realize who you are kind of thing. It's like don't hide who you are kind of message throughout the entire Mulan series. And it's kind of based on that. It's like man or woman, you can do the job kind of thing. But there also was this kind of LGBT aspect about it. And I do feel like they just skate the top of it off of all of the homoerotic stuff that somewhat happens with the training camps scenes and whatnot. I'll go into a little bit more details. So anyway, the first things I noticed off this movie were the great colors. I was like, oh my goodness. Bring honor to the family. That is something that is repeated from both of the Mulans. It's like, you got to bring honor or you bucked. You better bring that honor. Let's see. I thought the action was not bad, but the editing is what kind of disrupted it in a way. Let's see. I when I was watching this, I was like, this is some straight up National Geographic shit. I was just blown away by the budget of whatever this was shot with. One thing you realize when you're watching this first 20-30 minutes, it's a woman living in a man's world, and it absolutely has to suck. And so just like the original one, basically it's not a shot for shot, but there are same blocking, many similar shots. But I do feel like this Mulan kind of does redirect in a way some of the imagery in a way, and I like this imagery better than most of the live action Disney stuff. I did not like the live action Disney Beauty and the Beast. I only watched like the first chunk of it. I just couldn't get through it. I don't even think I reviewed it. This was a while ago. But yeah, I thought The Lion King was okay. It was more of a technical achievement, but that was shot for shot almost relatively, besides bucking in the air tonight or whatever the hell they fucked up on. But anyways, back to Mulan. Let's see. So this is showing. We have to show Mulan dressing as a man, and at first I was like, wait, where did Mulan go? And then it did a zoom in, I was like, holy shit, yeah, she does for a second. And then when she takes off her hat, she completely looks like a girl. There is not for 1 second that you don't think it's Mulan. It's like, how does no one think that like, I understand that they had the 1998 character go through this like whole transformation, which the thing about the transformations of the 1908, I'm it's kind of hard not to talk about the two, but the musical montages serve as like a storytelling showing how she's progressing through the story. And I feel like the lack of progression in this and pacing in this is due to that not having that progression of music, and we don't see the progression of who she is and what she's doing. And so it really hinders this movie. And so she joins the crew, she joins the guys, she joins well, I don't even remember who who the guys are. What is it? It's this group of warriors. They're trying to fight against the invading Rohan warriors. And let's see. Let me see. Yeah, it's Khan's army. Ah, yes, it's the Imperial soldiers arrive. So that is who the Imperial soldiers are, who Mulan ends up joining and becomes a trained soldier with, alongside a bunch of inexperienced recruits. But yeah, let me go back to the notes real quick. So yes, I really felt like this first 20 to 30 minutes of the movie really dragged along in a way that it showed the same things that happened in the 1998 version, but it took about twice as long, and it was not nearly as enjoyable to watch. And with the exception of the cinematography, I just thought, I was like, wrap it up, son. So, I laughed a couple times with the random dude snuggling with the other, trying to snuggle with Mulan, and the scenes of them, training and stuff like that. I realized that, having not seen the cartoon, it seemed way more dramatized than I was ever expecting. But apparently this is, some of these were shot for shot, shooting, training with the arrows and the dude cuddling and whatnot. And I love the colors of the background versus the attire. And what I realized is the supporting co-stars that are introduced in this movie, they aren't introduced until about 30 minutes into the movie. So you're just kind of sitting there with Mulan talking to nobody. She doesn't have Mushu. Her father's there for a little bit, but I mean, even that, it's not like y'all are having that most interesting conversation. It's always about bringing honor to the family. And the stuff with the sisters, fun, but it doesn't last long. I just felt like the majority of this film, she doesn't have anyone to bounce off of. And when I say bounce off of, she doesn't have anybody to be real with. She doesn't have the audience to inform about. So we're having to gain all of her emotions from her face, and she is not bringing. It's hard to tell if she's even enjoying being the character of Mulan, because I'd say the majority of the time it looks like a distress. Let me see what else we got. She shows out because of her chi, and one thing I realized is that she's not really supposed to be showing her chi. I guess it's kind of like holding who she is inside. And eventually that's what gets turned on her head, and that's why the Hawk Woman likes her or something. I don't know what the hell. So it takes an hour for her to laugh. I actually looked at the timestamp. I was like, an hour? This character is having, quote unquote, this much fun, and it takes her an hour to laugh. I was like, this is forever. So they have this major drum battle. They have this major battle, with I think it's the Khan's army, and versus Commander Tung's army, and it was it was pretty crazy. I liked how it was generally shot, but they didn't really feel like they went to war. I felt like it was like the drums were coming and the things were happening, but nothing really developed in a way that I was like, holy shit, I got a couple of good, because it's a Disney movie, because you can't show blood, because you can't do all this. It just felt like people were being like pushed over and stuff like that. And some people, no one really felt like they were in tons of trouble for the longest time, in my opinion. And based off of what I was writing in my notes, I watched this a couple of weeks ago, so sorry if I'm a little bit hazy on what had happened. So what else do we have? Lots of practical effects with tons of people and horses. So I will say there's a lot of CG, but there's also a lot of people. There's just as much of practical as there is probably CG. I know there was CG and wire work used on some of the action scenes with the Hawk Lady using her scarves to like scoop people up. It was pretty crazy. I was like, okay, that's pretty dope. But and I thought this was some of the better action from Disney's live action movies. I don't feel like Lion King was that impressive past Aladdin. Maybe Jungle Book. I didn't get to see that. So I said it was an underwhelming battle until Mulan shows up, or straight up Wonder Woman. And when that crow attacks, that was pretty crazy. Got those Rowan guys got bucked up by that blast. I think it was I think that was the avalanche blast. And using using helmets as decoys was pretty smart for Mulan. I actually think she did that in the original one as well. The avalanche was impressive, but it didn't make any sense from how she got there so fast and got out of there at the same time. Just from a blocking standpoint, she just got in and out of there in no time. And so when she's saving everybody at this point, no one said anything about her being a woman until like right immediately after that. I was like, I retract that. She's told to leave or die. I was like, Jesus, she just saved y'all's life. You can't believe y'all are doing that. You didn't have to do her like that. And after all of that, I'm thinking, my gosh, Mulan looks great considering minimal showers and a battle. She looks like she's just like gone for a hike up the mountain, 2-hour hike or something like that, and she's been like beaten, battered, avalanche torn. Like, it's just, what the fuck. So basically she goes away. She I can't remember if she has like a like a mental, I think she has like a mental connection with the Hawk Woman or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But anyways, she ends up getting pushed away from the Imperial soldiers and then accepted back by the Imperial soldiers. It's like, did y'all even have to do that? It's like, come on now. So she's accepted pretty easily by the crew. It's by one of the guys that really liked her. I can't remember his name at the moment. Let me see if I can get it real quick. Target acquired. It is Hong Ho, played by Janssen on. So, anyways, yeah, that guy, Hong Hae. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't know. I forgot his name. That guy's definitely got homoerotic tendencies towards the male Mulan, but then he was really feeling female Mulan. So it is like, okay, I guess she's accepted now. And it just feels like all of a sudden they just, because this guy says, she saved my life, now I want to accept it. It felt like, for some reason, like he didn't want her as a soldier 2 hours ago, 2 hours ago in the story timeline. But for some reason, she comes back and explains herself a little bit better. That all of a sudden that it's, it's all good. I didn't feel like the transition. There was no transition. It's not like, oh yeah, we're gonna start accepting women in our establishment now. It didn't feel like there was just all of a sudden this just big turnkey. I didn't feel like she ever had this big moment of revelation of saying, you know, men and women can do equally the same thing if you train your mind to do, whatever. I'm not trying to put that on the pedestal. I'm just trying to say if that's what the movie is going to say, then say it. I just felt like she's like, I saved your life. She basically gave the same. I felt like she gave the same argument. She was like, the first time she's like, I saved your life. What does it matter if I'm a man or a woman? They're like, get out. Get the hell out of here. We don't want to see your face. Get out of here. And then she comes back. She's like, I saved your life. And what does it matter if I'm a man or a woman? They're like, she's got a point. She's definitely got a point. So, yeah. What else do we have right here? Pretty accepted, easily accepted by the crew. And the Phoenix follows. This entire movie has this like Phoenix. I don't remember if the original has the Phoenix. I don't think the original has the Phoenix, actually, now, the more I think about it. Let me see if I can pull this up without doing the... No, shut. I don't think... Does the original one have the Phoenix? I'm trying to see if it does. I do not believe so. I don't see the Phoenix. I don't see the Phoenix. And was it even 100% what the Phoenix was? I don't know. Like, it was just her will to drive, her drive. I don't know. I'll let someone in the comments say what it means in a metaphorical way in like 3 sentences or 3, whatever. The close-ups of the hawk are hilarious. Like, the hawk is like, you better not buck on me, man. I'll buck you up, man. The Emperor is not exactly a good guy. So the Emperor, I believe, had... let me see. Khan's true plan is to capture and execute the Emperor for having his father killed. Okay, so yeah, there was this big thing with the Emperor killing Khan's father. Do we remember why he did that? I think he was trying to... I don't remember exactly why he killed, or he tried to kill the father. But I'll like I said, I'll have somebody else remember that or recall that. Yeah, so there's a crazy capture of him. I thought the rope work and the choreography, the stunt work, the practical stuff, all works for me. I don't want to disparage that. The antagonist, Rohan, has a clear motivation, but he's too much of a Danny Trejo type crazy. What the hell? The witch saved Mulan? Like, the witch clearly killed like 100+ dudes, and then all of a sudden just changes sides for absolutely no reason. Didn't make any lick of sense, but okay. She's like, be who you are and I'll join your side. And it's like, okay. And so, yeah, in the original, that lady is not there. It's just a hawk that happens to follow the Rohan around. Or whatever his name is, Bori Khan. Is his name Bori Khan? Yeah, okay, so Bori Khan is the guy's name, and I thought his name was Rohan, but that's what that's what the soldiers are called. Sorry. So, let me see. All right. So I thought it was pretty cool camera work with the Emperor being captured and whatnot. And okay, so she has this big fight with Khan at the end, and then at the very end knocks him down. Khan gets up right at the last second and tries to do the arrow. She turns around and kicks the arrow back at him, and it hits him. Oh my, what? I was like, what in the Kung Fu Hustle is this shit? I was just like, this is ridiculous. I was like, what am I watching at this point? It's just like, wow. And so throughout this entire battle at the end, you're like, I really hope all my favorite characters lived. You know, the arrow guy, the dumb guy, the guy with the red lips, the chubby guy, the guy that's an asshole, the good looking guy. It's like all these guys, you look at them and then they're acting like they're dead for a second, and they're like slowly getting back up, and they're like, hey, we're okay. It's like, hey, it's like, oh my gosh, really? You couldn't take anybody out? And it's a typical, Disney ending, just having to let everybody be okay. I don't even think anyone had scratches. I think they had dirt on them. So yeah, I was like, all right, so we got some beautiful people at the end and beautiful attire. I was like, all right. And I was like, holy Santa Claus, that's Jet Li? It's like, my Lanta, what year is it? Mulan returns home. And I was like, wow, I did not know that this was written by the Planet of the Apes people, the Amanda Silver and Rick Jaffa guys. I thought that they had a solid trajectory of what was to happen, and the action relatively was doable. It worked, but I heard it didn't work for everybody. It worked more for me than most. But I think the heart and the soul of this was just not there. The kingdom is in her debt. She brings honor to her family and her country, loyalty, brave, and truth, and devotion to the family. I think devotion to the family was the last thing that was written on the sword. And I said, will this make more room for women leaders in their country? Like, is this... I didn't really feel like... like I said, I have just some problems with the overall transformation of all of this. I was like, I don't know if this works or not. And I was thinking, is this narrator even necessary? Even thinking back in 1998, I don't even think the narrator was necessary like that. Narrators are really very rarely necessary, in my opinion. If you can just show it, then why not? You don't have to have someone tell us. But yeah, same title as the 1998 shown at the end. Beautiful credits. I liked them. All English though, and the chi is dropped. The chi is dropped throughout half the movie. Like, the first half, don't show your chi. At the very end, I guess, let the chi fly. It's not even clear about what the chi is or if she's got the chi. No one mentions it after about the hour and a half mark. It's like, what the hell? It's very much a don't hide who you are kind of mentality. But I don't know. I don't know exactly if China believes that. And yeah, so they removed, there's no ancestors, there's no dragon, there's no cricket, there's no songs. And so with saying all of that, I think I gave it a 7 out of 10, although the more I think about it, it feels more like a 6 out of 10. I think the visuals really just kicked it up a notch for me. There was not enough story, and there was not enough charisma being flown throughout the main cast, or a lot of fun being had throughout the main cast for me to give a much higher rating. And it's too long for me to say that you want like an entire family to sit down and watch this, and the kids being under 10 years old, they're going to fall asleep or they're not going to care. It's just too, I don't know. For me, I don't think I would, show a family this. It's hit a weird spot. It's one of those things where it looks good. You probably want to watch a couple sections of it, but you don't want to sit down and watch this entire thing. I don't want to go back and rewatch this 115-minute time stamp again. Like, I feel like I've done my time. I had higher expectations just from the story standpoint. I thought that Disney would have delivered a little bit better, but because it went straight to Disney Plus, you're not tied to being in a theater right now. So I guess for $30, if you can get your money back, if you have, at least 4 people, then that's when I would do it. And you had to watch it. But otherwise, I would just wait for it to be on Disney Plus. There's no reason to have it right now. So thank you for listening, watching LuckyDog Podcast. Let me know how I can improve on the podcast. I have tons of other podcasts that we got coming down the tube. Like I said, we'll probably have the 1998 Mulan review coming down the tube as well. I just haven't decided how specific or in detailed I want to get into it. I don't have the detailed notes on them like I do a lot of my podcasts. So I'm going to kind of play it by ear to see what works the best. But yes, in comparison, I do think that 1998 still is superior, although I'm not mad that this Mulan exists. You know, you don't have to be upset that there's a new Mulan. There's always going to be another remake of something you love. You can't get mad because people try to remake something or try to make it slightly, maybe a little bit better, at least attempt to make it better. But yeah, I personally think if this would have hit a little bit more with a charismatic story and level, then I would have enjoyed it just as much as the 1998. Because I don't think the 1998 is a blow away masterpiece like a lot of people say. I think that visually it's very stunning and I like the aesthetic and songs, but I don't think it's one of the best animated cartoons from Disney. I still hold some of their more original stuff in higher respect, although I do like the world they've built in both the live action and cartoon. I don't understand why Disney decided not to pursue some sort of television series. I wonder if did they even try to do a television series at all with Mulan, because I think the aesthetic for Mulan could definitely serve a brand new world. You know how the Proud Family was essentially their first reflection of black culture in Disney. I think that Mulan could have had a reflection of Asian culture in Disney, and I just feel like they kind of dropped the ball on that. Did they? Mulan TV series at all? Let me see. Yeah, I don't see any. Yeah, I don't think I see Mulan too much in any television stuff at all. She was Once Upon a Time, I guess, in House of Mouse, but that is not like her own series. I feel like they really have dropped the ball on this. They could have. They have an entire world and an entire aesthetic they could use to create a brand new television show, and I think it would definitely diversify the Disney portfolio. So if anything, I hope that this movie brings more attention to representation and Asian culture and with Disney, and we probably get some more live action and animated production, TV series, movies, whatever. But yeah, so let me know how I can improve on the podcast. Let me know what you thought about Mulan 2020. If you have anything you want to add, or let me know before I record the 1998 Mulan podcast. Let me know about that. I'll be sure to add it or cover your questions there. For comments, questions, concerns, check out at LuckyDog Podcast, Twitter, LuckyDog Podcast, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. Links are all down below. Support the podcast, paypal.me/TheLuckyDog for all donations. We could not do this podcast without you. Let me know how I can improve. I hope everyone is doing all right out there in this crazy 2020 world. Let's keep on trudging. We're going. If you're listening, then I appreciate it. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you, and take it easy.